Congratulations, you lost a bunch of weight, but you still have the last 10 pounds of stubborn fat to go. This is what I call the last mile. In this lesson, I'll be sharing with you how to lose the last 10 pounds of stubborn fat in 10 days with 7 easy steps. Personally, when I was 250 pounds, 34% body fat, I went as low as 6% body fat to 170 pounds. The first 50, 60, even 70 pounds were, I wouldn't say easy, but they came off consistently. But when I got down to the last 10 pounds, the last mile, I came to a screeching halt. So I experimented with different things. Some things worked, some things didn't work, but I found 7 key things that I did to get those last 10 pounds of stubborn fat off my body, which I'm gonna highlight for you today. What you wanna understand is this: losing weight is anti-survival. And the #1 priority for your human metabolism is survival. Weight loss, especially extreme weight loss, is a threat to survival. Your body doesn't know you're trying to lose weight on purpose. It thinks, whoa, the more fat we lose, the less storage we have in case there's a famine. It doesn't get that we are not going to get a famine because we have our pantry, our refrigerator, Uber Eats and DoorDash, but we're hardwired for the old school. So we want to mix things up. We want to trick the metabolism. This creates hormonal adaptations, which keeps the body adapting, kickstarting your fat loss efforts, which sheds the last 10 pounds of stubborn fat. I call this metabolic confusion, similar to muscle confusion. A lot of great workouts and personal trainers and fitness coaches, they do muscle confusion, meaning you're not doing the same workout every time when you go and work out with them or watch that workout video. It's always changing, keeps the muscles adapting, keeps the hormones adapting, keeps your metabolism adapting. It creates muscle confusion, which helps you continue to get results. We want to do the same thing as it relates to our metabolism. So I call it metabolic confusion. So these 7 easy steps are going to create that metabolic confusion. Now, there are 3 things these steps have in common. #1, it mixes things up to keep the metabolism guessing. #2, it lowers the hormone insulin and makes it more sensitive to tap into those stored fat stores, the last 10 pounds of stubborn fat. And #3, it lowers inflammation at the cell level and the membrane level and the mitochondrial level. When we support healthy levels of inflammation around the cells and mitochondrial membrane, it increases energy production, which raises your basal metabolic rate and allows you to burn more calories and more fat. So let's start with the first step here in your protocol. That is to wake up in the morning at least 5 times per week in the next 10 days and do fasted cardio first thing in the morning before you have any food. What do I mean by cardio? That could mean, depending on your activity level, a walk around your neighborhood or on a treadmill, a jog, or even better if you want to get the best results, some sprinting. When you go into that cardio session, and it doesn't have to be long, 20 minutes is enough, but when you go into it without eating food, you're putting your body fat at the front of this metabolic bus to be burned for energy first. Versus if you had a meal, breakfast, and then went and did cardio, you're putting the calories from the food then at the front of the metabolic bus. Your metabolism then has to burn the calories from the food before it goes to your body fat. But by not eating the food, your body fat is right at the front of the bus. That's going to be burned for energy first. And there's a key thing you can do here before the fasted cardio to really enhance fat oxidation. And that's going to be to have a cup of coffee with butter, 1 tablespoon of butter, and MCT oil. Why coffee? Well, coffee has a powerful polyphenol called chlorogenic acid, called CGA. And it tells your body's fat cells to burn their fatty acids for fuel. This is the same mechanism that statin drugs use to lower cholesterol without the potential side effects. CGA cuts cravings, suppresses appetite, and activates the liver to produce more bile, aiding in detoxing your cells. It helps the liver process fats and glucose more efficiently by lowering triglyceride levels and stabilizing blood sugars. The effect of this blood sugar balancing act decreases your risk for metabolic syndrome and diabetes while inhibiting the growth of new fat cells. Working together with the caffeine in the coffee, CGA helps to reduce belly fat by increasing the number of cells that are burned for energy. It even works while you're sleeping. A Norwegian study found that women who drank high CGA coffee dropped 3 times more weight than those who consumed lower CGA brews. But here's the thing, you want to make sure your coffee is a medium roast as opposed to a dark roast. Once the beans are roasted beyond medium, they've lost a whopping 75% of their fat-blasting polyphenols. You also want to get a coffee that's grown at high altitudes with extreme temperatures, which then enhances the polyphenols in that coffee bean. You want to make sure the coffee is organic, it's been tested for heavy metals and pesticides, and you could go research all that, but I personally have researched a company called Purity Coffee. I use them, I recommend them. If you go to 𝙄𝙀𝘽𝙀𝑐𝑜ffee.com, you can get their medium roast, use the coupon code 𝙄𝙀𝘽𝑚p at checkout. Now, why do I say add butter and MCT oil? Here's why. Grass-fed butter are rich in essential nutrients such as fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. It has omega-3 fatty acids, conjugated linoleic acid, and also C15, which is a very important anti-inflammatory saturated fat. These nutrients have potent anti-inflammatory properties, which help to lower cell membrane inflammation, mitochondrial membrane inflammation, and help your cells produce more energy. And then the MCT oil, there's different types of MCTs. The one I'm referring to is caprylic acid, C8. This offers remarkable benefits on the metabolism in a process called mitochondrial uncoupling. Caprylic acid gives your mitochondria an energy source. It bypasses digestion. It's like a shuttle bus of energy right into your mitochondria, which helps you feel energized, great for the cardio session, but that energy production increases the basal metabolic rate. At the same time, creates the mitochondrial uncoupling, which essentially means lowers inflammation at the same time. And there's a ton of studies showing this, which I'll reference down below. You want to make sure your caprylic acid is in a glass bottle. Take a tablespoon of that, a tablespoon of the butter, mix it in that coffee, drink it, and then go do your 20-minute cardio session. You only have to do that 5 times in the next 10 days to get the effect that we're looking for here. I'll drop a link for the MCT oil in a glass bottle that I use and recommend in the notes down below. The next step, step number 2 in your protocol here, is an 18-6 early time-restricted feeding schedule. Time-restricted feeding, another word for it, people also call it intermittent fasting. When you're in a fasted state, your body, your metabolism is really tapping into stored fat. Those last 10 pounds of fat, it's gonna really get quick access to it to burn it for energy, which will increase ketones, increase cellular energy, lower insulin, lower glucose, lower inflammation in general. With an early time-restricted feeding, the studies show it's better to have your meals earlier in the day and skip meals later in the day for the maximum benefits we're looking for here. So when you're done with your cardio session, let's give an example here. You wake up at 6:30 a.m., your cardio session is from 7 a.m. to 7:20, breakfast is at, let's say, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. will be your first meal. And in the next tip here, I'll give you what foods to eat, but you're eating at 8 a.m. and you're going to eat again at 12 p.m. and then at 2 p.m. So you have 3 meals within a 6-hour eating window. And then from 2 p.m. all the way until 8 a.m. the next day, you're not having food. You're in a fasted state. You're having the coffee, the butter, the MCT oil, but no food. And the reason why it's better to have breakfast and skip dinner is because a lot of research shows you get more autophagy, which is cellular repair and cleanup. You're more insulin sensitive in the morning versus later on in the day, so it helps with fat loss and what's called postprandial glucose. And then also you get more of your sirtuin genes activated, which are your longevity genes, when you have breakfast and skip dinner versus the other way around. So you only need to do this for the next 10 days to get the effect we're looking for here. You'll have your eating window between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m., having a meal at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 2 p.m., and then fasting outside of that for the next 10 days. This brings us to tip number 3. What are you gonna eat with those 3 meals during your eating window? You're gonna eat a carnivore diet. And I'll share with you the 4 different levels of carnivore, but the carnivore diet is one of the best diets to burn stubborn fat. One of the best diets to lower inflammation, to fix brain fog, to fix autoimmune disease. If you don't know what the carnivore diet is, it's essentially eating meat, no vegetables, essentially no carbs. You're eating anything from an animal, not just meat, but anything from an animal. We'll outline the different foods in a minute. When you eliminate carbohydrates, eliminate vegetables and anti-nutrients, you heal your gut, you lower inflammation. You enhance ketones in your body. People think of ketones, or I should say keto, as a diet, the keto diet for fat loss. And yes, you could talk about it that way, but keto is not a diet. Keto is a metabolic process that has been used for as long as humans have existed. There's nothing new about keto, it's just nuanced or maybe new to some people. When you're eating carnivore, you're in this metabolic state of ketosis. Ketones get you 400% more cellular energy than when you're not in ketosis. That cellular energy increases your basal metabolic rate, burns more fat, lowers inflammation, and helps you feel incredible and keeps you satiated and full for that fast that you're practicing, the early time restricted fasting schedule we outlined. Now, what are carnivore friendly meals? There's 4 different levels to carnivore. Level 1 is just beef and salt, red meat and salt. That's more extreme for those who have severe autoimmune conditions. Number 2 is everything I just mentioned, so beef and salt plus poultry, pork, bison, seafood, anything from an animal, any animal flesh. Level 3 is everything I mentioned plus eggs and dairy. And then level 4 is everything I mentioned plus some low amounts of low oxalate, low plant toxin foods like avocados, mushrooms, some plant-based sauces like Primal Kitchen dressings and dips. So you can choose whatever level you want. The higher the level, 1, 2, and 3, you're gonna get the fastest results. Personally, when I do carnivore, I do a level 3 where I have all animal protein plus eggs and dairy. The fourth tip in your protocol is to avoid seed oils at all costs. Seed oils are also called vegetable oils and also called linoleic acid. Naturally, by eating a carnivore diet, you're not gonna really have seed oils, but when you go to restaurants, it might be an issue here. Seed oils are highly inflammatory. They promote oxidative stress and inflammation at the cell membrane and mitochondrial membrane level. They cause fat storage. They prevent you from burning the last 10 pounds of fat. They are very inflammatory because they're called polyunsaturated fats. And the chemical structure in nature makes them very unstable fats. And typically, they're using chemical agents and detergents and high heat to process these seed oils, put them in a bottle, and then we consume them and we create inflammation. Here's how inflammatory they are. There's a study by Dr. Martin Grutfeld, and I'll put the study reference down below, that showed 5-ounce serving of French fries cooked in vegetable oils produced the same amount of cancer-causing aldehydes as 20 to 25 tobacco cigarettes smoked. This means that 5-ounce servings of French fries and vegetable oils is about 20 to 25 tobacco cigarettes smoked. Essentially, one French fry eaten cooked in vegetable oil is equivalent to 1 tobacco cigarette smoked in terms of the aldehydes produced. This is cancer causing, it's inflammatory. That's not going to help with weight loss, it's going to create weight gain. So you want to avoid polyunsaturated fats. Here's a list of 9 of them to avoid, especially the next 10 days as we burn this extra last 10 pounds of fat. We have canola oil, called rapeseed oil in the UK. We have corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, rice bran oil, grapeseed oil, and I would even throw fish oil into that category, although it's not a seed oil. It's still highly inflammatory and highly unstable. We want to swap out those fats for saturated fats and monounsaturated fats. These include butter, ghee, beef tallow, duck fat, olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil. Those are much healthier for you. When you go to restaurants, what you want to do is tell the server you're allergic to the vegetable oils. You want to use this seed oil allergy card, which you could get for free over at 𝑠eedoilallergycard.com, and it lists the bad fats you're allergic to and the healthier swaps. Simply show this to the server and they'll accommodate by giving you the healthier swaps. I use this all the time and it works pretty much every single time I've used it. Go to 𝑠eedoilallergycard.com or click the link in the notes down below to get it. The fifth tip is to complete a 24-hour water fast in the next 10 days. You just want to do this one time. I mentioned how fasting helps pull body fat, lower inflammation, activate autophagy. You'll get even more of these benefits when you increase that fast to 24 hours. Now, that might be a little extreme to do every day, but if you can do it at least once in the next 10 days, you're going to really benefit. So essentially, what this means is within a 24-hour period, you're just having one meal. So if you finish eating, let's say Sunday at 2 p.m., you'll continue fasting until Monday at 2 p.m., being in a fasted state for 24 hours. Then you'll fast from that 2 p.m. till 8 a.m. the next morning and then go back to your 18-6 early time restricted feeding schedule. You could also go from breakfast to breakfast where you stop eating at 8 a.m. Sunday and then you start eating again at 8 a.m. on Monday. That is even better because it's practicing the early time restricted fast that we talked about earlier. By increasing your fast to 24 hours just once, you're actually lowering inflammation and insulin more, tapping into more body fat, getting more ketone production, and also resetting your gut microbiome. Studies shown, an MIT study has shown that a 24-hour water fast regenerated stem cells in mice. So you get this benefit of stem cell regeneration as well. All important factors when we talk about losing those last 10 pounds. And the sixth step in your 7-step protocol is to get 90 minutes of deep, what's called delta sleep each night. Delta sleep is when your fat burning hormones are activated. You're increasing growth hormone, you're increasing testosterone, you're crushing fat cells, burning fat, and you actually burn more fat in delta deep sleep than at the gym. Now, how do you know how much deep sleep you're getting? You would have to use a tracker, which gives you your different sleep cycles and the total amount of sleep you've spent in each cycle. There are 3 main stages of sleep cycles that you go through each night: light sleep, REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement sleep, and then the deep delta sleep we're talking about here. Studies show if you get 90 minutes of deep sleep each night, you're really going to enhance fat loss production. Some of the trackers out there to track your sleep is an Oura ring. I have this here and I'll put a link for it down below. There's an Apple Watch, Fitbit, Whoop bands. There's different trackers out there. Once you track, you could actually assess to see how much deep sleep you're getting and aim to get 90 minutes. And I'll just share with you some of the best things you can do to enhance your deep sleep. Number 1, no food at least 3 hours before bed. This is easy because you're practicing time-restricted feeding and you're not gonna have food from 2 p.m. on, so this is even better for you. Number 2, your body temperature needs to drop 1 to 2 degrees overnight, especially the first half of the night, to get that deep delta sleep. Studies show keeping your thermostat between 64 to around 67 degrees Fahrenheit allows you to do this. Number 3, you wanna make sure your bedroom is as dark as possible, so cold and dark. Blackout curtains or a sleep mask will help you accomplish this. Number 4, for deep sleep, mouth taping. By taping your mouth, it forces you to breathe through your nose. That's important for nitric oxide production and deep delta sleep. I use a company called Somnifix. I mouth tape every night. I've been doing it for years. You'll notice a big difference when you mouth tape. Here's how you know you're a mouth breather. When you wake up in the morning and you feel like your throat is dry, that's a sign that you're a mouth breather, and most people are. I know I was myself. So by wearing the mouth tape, it trains you to breathe through your nose, which you want to do for nitric oxide production and deep delta sleep. I'll drop a link for the Somnifix mouth tape that I use in the notes down below. And the 7th step here to lose the last 10 pounds of stubborn fat is to take this supplement, it's a vitamin, every single day for the next 10 days, and I recommend taking it for the rest of your life. This vitamin and supplement has been shown to reduce inflammation, to lower blood pressure levels, to lower blood sugar levels, to increase neurochemicals in your body like dopamine, oxytocin, GABA, to enhance restful sleep, to enhance your relationships, and to balance hormones. The vitamin I'm referring to is called vitamin G. Now, before you look down below for an affiliate link or go on Amazon, vitamin G is vitamin gratitude. Everything I just shared are legitimate studies on gratitude. And vitamin G gratitude is the best way to put your body in a parasympathetic rest and relax state. Vitamin G gratitude is not an intellectual exercise. It's not a checklist where you say, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this person, I'm done. It's an emotional exercise. You feel the gratitude. It's a gateway to your heart, a gateway to your soul. So I'll share with you the best vitamin G supplementation routine for you to do starting today. The 2 best times to take vitamin G are right before bed and in the morning when you wake up. That's because your subconscious mind is most impressionable those 2 times throughout the day. So right before bed, I typically think about, and I don't actually write down my gratitude before bed. When I'm in bed, I think about my day. I kind of rewind and I think about all the grateful moments I've had, the conversations, the experiences, and I'm just in a state of appreciation. And then when I wake up in the morning, that's when I actually have a gratitude journal where I will spend 3 minutes looking at 3 different things I'm grateful for, and I'll spend a minute on each thing, person, experience. But you want to use your senses, use your feelings, feel the gratitude. Spend 1 minute on each person or experience, and then move on to the other person or experience for a minute, for a total of 3 different vitamin G doses for 3 minutes total. This is a universal law. What you feed energy to expands. In other words, what you appreciate appreciates. So if you're not getting your vitamin G, get it. It's highly anti-inflammatory, helps you burn fat, helps put you in a parasympathetic state, and the more you do it, the more benefits you get. There's no upper limit, it's free, and vitamin G is where it's at. It's my favorite supplement in the world. Maybe you could tell me if you're watching on YouTube and not listening on the podcast in the comment section, what do you have vitamin G for today? Now let's get to the most common questions I get asked when I go over this routine of losing the last 10 pounds of stubborn fat. First question is, Ben, my schedule doesn't allow me to practice early time restricted feeding. I have dinner with my family at 6 o'clock and it's better for me to skip breakfast and have dinner. Will this still work for me? I don't want to disrupt your family schedule or your schedule in general. So if it's better for you to have lunch and dinner and skip breakfast, you're still going to benefit with time-restricted feeding. You'll get more benefits by having breakfast and skipping dinner. However, you're still going to benefit, so don't let it ruin your schedule. Maybe then your schedule will be instead eating between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m., having 3 meals, and then fasting from 6 p.m. until 12 p.m. the next day. That's totally fine. You're still giving your body 18 hours of autophagy, lowering inflammation, lowering insulin, and tapping into body fat for fuel. Next question I get asked is, what can I do if I feel hungry during the fast? It's important to understand that there's a difference between hunger and cravings. Hunger is normal. The hormone ghrelin is increased and you feel hungry. Now, nobody likes for ghrelin to be around. It makes noise, you feel uncomfortable, but here's the cool thing about ghrelin and all hormones. They're pulsatile, meaning you feel hungry and then it goes away. Ghrelin goes up and it decreases. All hormones are pulsatile. So if you could just distract yourself, keep yourself occupied or busy, go for a walk, 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, ghrelin goes back to baseline, you're no longer hungry. Now, cravings are different. For some people, if you're experiencing intense cravings during a fast, then you wanna do a little bit low carb keto for maybe a week or so, and then start practicing the fasting schedule. And I have a ton of content on low carb and keto on this channel, and a free guide called the Keto Kickstart Guide to help you do that over at ketokickstartguide.com. And I'll drop that link in the notes down below as well. Next question is this: I have a hard time practicing gratitude. Are there any tips for me? You would be surprised that a lot of people have a challenge practicing gratitude. I actually get this question a lot. And my answer is this: one of the easiest ways to feel grateful, this might sound crazy, but is to imagine something being taken away from you. I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, I lived in this beautiful apartment building in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida, called �゛ Bay Harbor. Me and my fiance lived there for 4 years, and our lease was coming up, and we knew we were moving. So we lived in this beautiful fourth floor. We had this beautiful balcony over the canal, and for that whole month, knowing that in a month I was leaving and I was gonna lose this view, I was so appreciative of that balcony view. Prior to that, yeah, I had some gratitude, I enjoyed the view, but it wasn't until I realized I was losing that I was really grateful and I was intentional and present when I was sitting out there in the balcony, right? You could do this. You could envision something being taken away from you. Your right arm, a relationship, finances, and then be so appreciative that it's not gone. You have your right arm, you have the finances, you have that relationship. It puts you in a state of gratitude when you realize that you could lose something and you're now grateful that you actually have that in your life. That might sound extreme for some people, but I would say this: the more you practice vitamin G and gratitude, the easier it becomes. Remember to use your emotions. It's an emotional exercise, not an intellectual exercise. And the more you hang around people that are grateful, the more grateful you're gonna be as well. Next question is this: I track my sleep and my REM sleep is usually high, but my deep sleep is low. Why is that? Well, that's great that your REM sleep is high. That's also really important stage of sleep. But if you want to increase your deep sleep to get the fat burning effects, then what you want to do is get the bedroom colder, especially that first half. Thermostat needs to be around 65 degrees Fahrenheit. You might want to even take a cold shower or an ice bath plunge right before bed. That could do it as well. And even using something like a cooling mattress. I use a cooling mattress from a company called ChiliPad, although I think they changed the name, which cools the mattress as well. Helps to get deep sleep. Again, your body temperature needs to drop 1 to 2 degrees that first half of sleep, which is when you're going to get the most deep delta sleep. The second half is where you get the most REM sleep. If you could hit 90 minutes of deep and REM sleep each night, you're gonna feel incredible and burn excess fat and have amazing memory. Next question is this: during that 24-hour fast that you spoke about, can I do a fasted workout? Can I exercise in general? Absolutely. If you feel great, do it. Do a fasted workout. Stay fasted for a few hours. That'll enhance human growth hormone after the workout. And human growth hormone is a powerful anti-aging, fat-burning hormone, and that gets increased every hour after exercise. So you're not gonna lose muscle. It'll preserve muscle. It'll burn fat. So if you feel good, you exercise, and you have good energy levels, then you could definitely do the exercise and continue fasting until that 24 hours of your fast is complete. Next question is this: where is the best place to source high quality animal protein for the carnivore diet? You do want to make sure the animals you consume have been treated the right way and fed a natural diet, grass-fed, grass-finished, organic from regenerative farms. It's hard to find that. I personally use a company called Wild Pastures, and they deliver, I have a monthly subscription with them, and they deliver these grass-fed, grass-finished meats, wild-caught seafood, organic poultry and pork right to my door every single month. And you could check them out and get a nice discount plus some free gifts over at ketocampmeat.com. The coupon code is automatically applied. I'll drop that link down below for you. Speaking of the carnivore diet, I recently published a video on the 5 worst carnivore diet mistakes that cause disease and weight gain. Make sure you watch that because you're going to be practicing carnivore very soon. The first mistake people make on carnivore is not eating enough fat. Common misconception about the carnivore diet is that it's all about protein. And while you do consume protein, you don't want to forget the fat. And if you don't get enough fat, it'll lead to fatigue, hormone imbalance, and nutrient deficiencies, and also hunger and possibly even constipation.